I never thought I'd be the guy catching his wife cheating on him in his own house, but here I am. Michelle and I had been together for over 10 years. We married young, built a life that seemed perfect from the outside. She was beautiful, confident, the kind of woman who knew what she wanted, and honestly, she could be a real bitch about it when she didn't get her way. Still, I loved her, or at least I thought I did. We had our routines, and I always felt secure until recently. Small things started changing. Her mood swings, erratic work hours, always claiming she was busy at the gym. I didn't think much of it at first. She's always been obsessed with her appearance, her fitness, that alternative fitness. She kept bragging about that was so secretive I couldn't get her to tell me what it was. I built her a home gym for her birthday last year, something she always wanted. She was thrilled at first, kept saying how much she appreciated it. But lately, she'd spend hours there, and I'd see her sneaking away to spend even more time alone in her workout space. She'd come out smelling like sweat and perfume, and sometimes her hair would be messed up in a way that didn't quite add up. I tried asking her about it, but she'd brush me off with that typical bitchy attitude. "You wouldn't understand, it's my thing, just leave me alone." She'd laugh it off like it was nothing, but something felt off. I noticed her hiding her phone more, deleting messages, and her stories about training sounded more and more like cover stories. I kept telling myself I was overthinking, that maybe she was just into a new fitness trend. But the gut feeling grew worse every day. One night, I decided to check the security footage from the smart home system I had installed. It was supposed to be just for security, but I'd been thinking maybe I'd catch her doing something suspicious. I never expected what I saw next. I rewound the footage from late afternoon, and there she was, Michelle in the gym, but not alone. She was with some guy. Not just any guy, her personal trainer, Jason. I recognized him because he'd been coming around for months, supposedly just for personal training sessions. But on that video I saw them, her on her hands and knees, him behind her, and they were going at it. No workout, no stretching, just straight up fucking. I couldn't believe it. She was moaning, and honestly, it sounded like she was enjoying herself way too much. I froze the frame. My heart was pounding so loud I thought it might burst out of my chest. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. How long had this been going on? How many times had I been clueless? I felt betrayed in a way I'd never experienced before. This wasn't just an innocent affair. It was a full-blown betrayal in the place I'd built for her happiness. I sat there for a long time, staring at the screen, feeling everything collapse inside me. I never thought I'd catch her like this, not in my own house, not in the gym I'd designed for her. The worst part, she lied about everything. When I confronted her the next day, she acted like I was crazy, said I was paranoid, that she'd never do anything like that. She called me insecure, said I was imagining things, that I was jealous and controlling. But I knew the truth now, and that truth cut deeper than I could have imagined. After I saw that footage, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept racing, trying to process what I'd just witnessed, trying to figure out how I'd been so blind, so naive. Michelle, my wife, the woman I'd trusted with everything, had been secretly betraying me right under my nose. It was surreal. I kept replaying the scene in my head over and over, as if somehow I could find some meaning in it or a way to undo what I'd just seen. But no, it was crystal clear. She was cheating on me, and with someone I'd thought was just her trainer, her fitness buddy. That's what she told me when I asked about him. She said they were just practicing alternative fitness techniques, whatever that meant. I wanted to laugh at the absurdity of her lie, but I felt sick instead. That night I stayed up, staring at the ceiling, feeling my world crumble. I kept asking myself how long she'd been doing this, how many times she'd lied to my face. I remembered all the little things: her sneaking around, her secret phone, her defensive attitude. I asked her about her whereabouts. I knew then I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine. I had to confront her. I needed to hear her side, even if I already knew what that side would be. I wanted to hear her deny it, to see her squirm, to catch her in a lie. But I also knew that whatever she said, nothing would undo what I'd seen. Still, I needed some clarity. The next morning, I woke up angry and hurt. I decided to call her out as soon as she got home from her gym session, whatever that was. She came in looking fresh, like she had no idea I knew. That bitchy smirk on her face when she saw me. I'd never seen her look so confident, so unbothered. She started with her usual bullshit, saying she'd been working hard, that she deserved her time, and that I was just overreacting. I didn't give her the chance to keep lying. I pulled out my phone and played the footage right in front of her. Her face instantly changed. Her eyes widened, her mouth opened, but she quickly shut it again, trying to act innocent. Her reaction: she just shrugged and said, "You're crazy, you must have mistaken something. Maybe my phone swapped videos, or I don't know. You're seeing what you want to see." That's her typical response: deny, deny, deny. She tried to twist it, make me doubt myself. I could see how uncomfortable she was, but she also looked angry, like I was the one messing everything up. That's when I realized she was just doubling down on her lie, trying to gaslight me into thinking I was the problem. I felt a mix of rage and despair. How could she lie so effortlessly? How could she betray me like this after everything we'd been through? I never thought I'd be here, confronting her with proof of her infidelity, feeling like my own wife was a stranger in my house. That day, I felt this strange mixture of heartbreak, fury, and betrayal. I didn't even know what I wanted anymore, whether to forgive her, to yell at her, or just walk out and never look back. But deep down, I knew I couldn't stay in this false illusion of a marriage where she was lying and cheating behind my back. I had to decide what to do next. I could see the cracks in our relationship growing wider, and honestly, I wasn't sure if it was even fixable. But one thing was clear: my trust was shattered, and I was tired of pretending everything was okay when it was. After I confronted her with the footage, Michelle's face turned a shade paler, but she kept that bitchy smirk. She was trying to act like I was overreacting, like I was the one making a big deal out of nothing. She took a step closer, her voice dripping with attitude. "You really think I'd do something like that? You're paranoid. Maybe you're the one cheating, huh? Maybe this is just your way of blaming me for your problems." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The audacity of her to throw that at me, like I was the one who'd done something wrong. I looked at her and felt a cold rage building inside. I told her, "You lied to my face. I saw what you two were doing. You've been sneaking around, hiding your phone, and now I find you cheating in MY gym, MY house built for you, for us. How do you even sleep at night pretending this is okay?" Her eyes flashed with irritation and she snapped back, "It's none of your business. I'm tired of your suspicion and accusations. You're just insecure." That's her favorite line: insecure. Like I'm the one with a problem, but I knew better now. I wasn't insecure, I was betrayed. The thing is, I wanted to break down, but I also knew I had to stay somewhat composed. I told her I had enough and that I needed to think. She stormed out, calling me controlling and accusing me of invasion of privacy. But I didn't care about her insults anymore. All I could think about was that damn video, her moaning, her lying, pretending she was innocent. I felt like a fool, like I'd been played for months, maybe years. I kept asking myself how I missed all the signs, how I'd been so blind. The betrayal cut so deep I felt like I was bleeding inside, but I knew I couldn't let her see that. Not yet. That night I didn't sleep. I kept replaying everything: her lies, her dismissiveness, her betrayal in my own house. I felt so angry I couldn't sit still. I wanted do something, anything to make her pay for this. I started researching, trying to figure out what my options were. Should I confront her again? Should I kick her out? Should I just walk away and divorce her? The thought of losing her hurt more than I can say, but at the same time I felt this burning need to assert control, to get revenge for the way she had humiliated me. I knew I had to be smart about it. I couldn't let her see I was broken, not yet. But I also knew I couldn't stay passive. That was the hardest part. How do you turn heartbreak into something else? How do you fight back when someone you loved so much has betrayed you so badly? I kept telling myself I'd come up with a plan, but honestly I was just trying to keep it together. Inside, I was a tornado of emotion: anger, sadness, disbelief, humiliation. I'd trusted her with everything, and she'd spat on that trust. Now I was left with nothing but questions and a deep urge to get even, to make her feel the pain she'd given me, tenfold if I could manage it. The next day, I couldn't focus on anything else. I kept going over everything in my head: the footage, her lies, the way she looked at me like I was the crazy one. I knew I had to do something, but I wasn't quite sure what. Part of me just wanted to pack my bags and leave that very moment, but I knew better. I needed a plan, something that would hit her where it hurt, something calculated but not reckless. I wanted her to feel the same devastation I felt when I saw her cheating in my home gym, and I knew that meant I had to be smart about it. First, I decided to gather more evidence. I started looking into her phone, her emails, even her social media accounts, anything that could give me more insight into what she was up to behind my back. I knew she'd be sneaky, so I had to be careful. I installed a few discreet apps that allowed me to monitor her online activity without her knowing. I also kept an eye on Jason, her trainer, digging into his background, his social media, and any connections he might have. The more I learned, the clearer it became this wasn't just a one-time thing. They were in deep, probably for months. Meanwhile, Michelle kept acting like everything was fine. She strutted around the house, throwing attitude like she owned the place. She was bitchy, dismissive, and that fake confidence she always projected now looked more like a mask. She'd sass me, make sarcastic comments, and act like I was the one overreacting. But I saw through her. I knew her game. She thought she could spin her lies and keep pretending nothing had changed. But I wasn't buying it anymore. I had enough evidence to blow this whole thing wide open, and I was planning my next move. One afternoon, I decided to confront her again, but this time, I had backup screenshots, video clips, and a plan to expose her. I called her into the living room and told her I had something she needed to see. Her eyes flashed with annoyance, like she knew she was about to get caught, but she played her usual game. I played the footage on the big screen, watching her face carefully. She froze for a moment, then started to deny. That's not what it looks like. She snapped, trying to brush it off. You're crazy. You're just jealous because I spend time at the gym. I cut her off. No, Michelle, you're caught. I know everything. You've been cheating on me with Jason in my house, in my gym, and you think you can lie your way out of it. Her reaction was pure defiance. I don't know what you're talking about, she spat. You're just trying to control me, make me feel bad for having a life outside of you. I was furious. How could she sit there and lie so brazenly? I told her that if she wanted to keep this marriage, she'd better come clean, but she just kept insisting I was paranoid, insecure, that I was the problem. That's when I realized her entire attitude was about saving herself from consequences. She wasn't sorry. She didn't regret cheating. She just didn't want to get caught yet. That confrontation was the turning point. I knew I couldn't keep pretending like everything was okay. I felt more betrayed than ever, but I also felt a flicker of clarity. This was the moment I had to decide whether to forgive her or cut my losses. My heart was heavy, but I'd made up my mind. I wasn't going to let her ruin me or walk all over me anymore. I was done playing nice. I told her she needed to leave if she wanted to continue this charade, and she snapped back with more insults, more accusations. But I didn't care. I was already planning what to do next, how to end this mess, how to make her face the fallout of her actions. Because at that point, I knew she was never going to change. She was just a bitchy, selfish woman who thought she could cheat and lie her way out of everything. Well, I was done being the fool. The day I told Michelle she had to leave was the day everything started to shift. She threw a fit, of course, calling me controlling, manipulative, and saying I was overreacting because I couldn't handle her independence. She spat out how everyone cheats sometimes, and how I was just insecure because I couldn't handle her being free. Honestly, I'd never felt so disgusted in my life. The woman I trusted for over a decade turned into someone I barely recognized. She packed her bags faster than I could blink, and her bitchy attitude only intensified as she yelled at me about how I was ruining her life and how she'd find someone better. But I didn't care about her tantrum. Inside, I was boiling. I felt a strange mixture of relief and rage. The relief came because I finally had clarity. She was gone, her lies exposed, and I could start healing. The rage, well, that was still burning deep inside. I wanted her to suffer, even if just a little, for the pain she'd caused me, for the humiliation of finding her in our own gym with her trainer. I wanted her to see what it felt like to lose someone you loved because they couldn't stay faithful, because they thought they were entitled to cheat and lie without consequences. After she left, I started cleaning up the mess. I took out her clothes, her makeup, everything that reminded me of her. I knew I needed a fresh start, and that meant removing her from my life completely. But I also knew I had to handle the aftermath carefully. I began talking to a lawyer about how to handle the divorce, what my rights were, and how I could protect myself financially. I also started changing some of the smart home settings, locking her out of certain cameras, disabling her access to things she had previously controlled. I wanted to make sure she couldn't manipulate or spy on me anymore. The hardest part was the emotional toll. I'd loved Michelle once, believed in the marriage we built. The betrayal had shattered that illusion. Every time I thought about her with Jason, I felt sick. But I also realized something. I couldn't let her destroy me. I had to take control, rebuild my life, and move on. I spent the next few days like a zombie, just trying to gather myself. I kept asking myself how I'd let it get this far, how I'd been so blind, so trusting. The anger was still there, but beneath that was a deep sadness. I'd lost someone I thought was my soulmate, and I'd been played for a fool. Still, I knew I couldn't go back. Not now. Not after everything I'd seen with my own eyes. In the quiet aftermath, I started reflecting on what I'd learned. Trust is fragile. It takes years to build, but can be destroyed in seconds when someone you love betrays you so deeply. I realized I'd been giving her too much space, too much trust, and maybe that had made me vulnerable. I also learned that sometimes the truth can only be revealed through pain, and that facing it head-on, no matter how ugly, is the only way to move forward. I don't know what my future holds now: divorce, separation, or maybe even trying to rebuild what was lost. But one thing's clear: I won't be fooled again. I won't let her betrayal define me or ruin me. I learned that the hard way, by seeing what she really was beneath the pretty face and bitchy attitude. And honestly, I'm starting to feel a little freer already. In the weeks that followed, I've done a lot of thinking about trust, betrayal, and what I want from life now. The house feels different without her, emptier somehow, but also clearer. I realize I've been wasting too much time blaming myself, questioning every little thing that led to this disaster. The truth is, Michelle was never who I thought she was. The woman I loved was hiding a whole different side: selfish, manipulative, and completely unfaithful. Seeing her with Jason in the sanctuary I built for us was the ultimate betrayal. It's like she took everything I gave her, my love, my trust, and threw it back in my face. Now I'm focused on rebuilding myself. I cut ties with her completely. Divorce proceedings are underway, and I've started to regain a sense of normalcy. I've changed the locks, removed her access to the house's smart system, and started investing in myself again. It's not easy. Some nights I lie awake feeling like I've lost a part of myself, but I remind myself that I deserve better. I deserve someone who respects me, who values honesty. I've also learned to listen more to that inner voice that kept warning me something wasn't right. Ignoring the signs was my mistake, and I won't do that again. Looking back, I see how much I let her manipulate my trust, how much I wanted to believe she was still the woman I married. But that illusion was shattered. The biggest lesson I've taken from all this is that you can't change someone who doesn't want to change. Michelle was always about herself, her looks, her fitness, her alternative routines. Nothing real beneath that superficial surface. She didn't care about us, not enough to be faithful or honest. The pain of betrayal will stay with me for a while, but I won't let it define me. I'm choosing to move on, wiser than I was before. In the end, I guess I've learned that revenge isn't about harsh actions or petty payback. It's about reclaiming your own happiness and dignity. I took control by seeing the truth, facing it head on, and walking away. I won't let her lie or cheat anymore. Not in my head, not in my life. I hope everyone reading this understands that sometimes the only way forward is through the pain, through the betrayal, and into a better future. I'll always remember what happened, but I refuse to be a victim of it. I'll rebuild, stronger and more cautious, but also more aware of what true trust really means. That's how I'm going to heal.